There's a quiet mistake most men never notice in dating, because on the surface, it looks like the right thing to do. Being nice, being available, being understanding, always agreeing, always showing up, always making it easy for her. And yet, in psychology, there's a strange pattern. The more perfectly nice a man becomes, the more a woman's attraction slowly starts to fade. Not because she dislikes him, but because something inside her stops feeling spark. And here's the part that confuses everyone. She might still say she likes him. She might still enjoy him. But something changes in how she shows up emotionally. Less excitement, less pursuit, less tension. So the real question is this: if being nice is supposed to help you, why does it sometimes do the exact opposite in attraction? In this video, you're going to understand the hidden psychology behind attraction dynamics that most men never get taught. We're going to break down why excessive niceness can quietly lower desire, how emotional polarity shapes attraction, and why predictable behavior often kills curiosity in relationships. This isn't about becoming cold, distant, or manipulative. It's about understanding how human psychology actually works beneath politeness and social conditioning. By the end, you'll know how to stay kind without losing presence, respect, or attraction. And more importantly, you'll understand a truth about relationships that changes how you show up in every interaction from this point forward. Let's go deeper. It usually starts like this. A man meets a woman he really likes. He wants to do everything right. So he listens carefully, agrees often, replies quickly, and avoids anything that could create tension. At first, it works. She feels safe. She feels respected. Everything feels smooth. But over time, something subtle shifts. The emotional charge disappears. Conversations feel predictable. The edge of excitement fades. Psychologically, this is what happens when comfort replaces tension. Attraction is not built only on safety, it's built on contrast. The brain responds strongly to emotional variation, not emotional flatness. When everything becomes too smooth, the nervous system stops paying attention. No spikes, no contrast, no curiosity. And when curiosity dies, attraction slowly follows. The lesson here is simple. Comfort is good for trust, but contrast is necessary for desire. And if you remove all tension in the name of being nice, you unintentionally remove the very ingredient that keeps you interesting. But this is only the beginning. Transition. Because comfort isn't the only thing that changes attraction, predictability does even more damage. Imagine a woman texting a man who always replies instantly, always says the right thing, always agrees, never surprises her. At first, it feels amazing, but soon her mind starts to unconsciously map him. I know exactly how he'll respond. And the moment someone becomes fully predictable, the brain stops releasing dopamine spikes during interaction. Dopamine is not about pleasure alone, it's about anticipation. The maybe effect, the unknown outcome. When everything becomes certain, emotional engagement drops, not because she dislikes him, but because her brain stops expecting anything new. This is why unpredictable emotional presence creates more attraction than constant availability. Not games, not manipulation, just healthy unpredictability, having your own life, your own pace, your own direction. Because attraction doesn't grow in certainty, it grows in curiosity. And curiosity cannot survive full predictability. Transition. But there's another deeper layer most men never consider. And this is where things get interesting. A common pattern shows up when men become overly nice. They slowly abandon their own frame to maintain harmony. She wants something. He adjusts. She changes mood. He adapts. She hesitates. He over-explains. Over time, he is no longer leading the interaction. He is reacting to it. From a psychological perspective, attraction is strongly tied to perceived groundedness, not dominance in a toxic sense, but internal stability. When a man constantly bends to avoid discomfort, it signals unconsciously that he is not anchored in himself, and the brain reads that as lower polarity, less direction, less certainty, less grounded presence. Women don't lose attraction because a man is kind. They lose attraction when kindness replaces self-direction, because direction creates emotional safety and tension at the same time, and that combination is powerful. Transition. But even when everything looks fine externally, there's a hidden psychological mechanism working underneath all of this. Let's say a man is constantly giving attention, validation, emotional support, and effort without any pacing or rhythm. At first, it feels good, but the brain quickly adapts. What once felt rewarding becomes the baseline. This is called hedonic adaptation. Humans normalize what is constantly available, so the emotional reward system stops firing the same way. In relationships, attraction is partially maintained through cycles of effort and emotional reward, not imbalance in a toxic sense, but rhythm, flow, space, and return. When a man overgives emotionally, the reward system flattens. There is no anticipation, no contrast, no emotional rise and fall, and without that rhythm, the relationship can start to feel emotionally neutral even if nothing is wrong. Transition. Now here's where everything comes together in a way most people never expect. Here's a question that changes how you see everything. Why is it that some men do less, speak less, and yet create more attraction than men who are constantly trying to do everything right? It's not effort that creates attraction, it's emotional impact. And impact comes from presence, not excess. There's a subtle difference most men miss. Being nice versus being respected. Nice behavior often comes from fear of losing approval. Respect signals come from self-assurance. For example, saying yes to everything sounds nice, but it can also signal that your boundaries are flexible based on someone else's mood. On the other hand, calmly holding your preference without aggression, without apology, signals stability. Psychologically, people are more drawn to stability than compliance, because stability feels safe at a deeper nervous system level. It tells the brain, this person is not easily swayed, they are grounded. And groundedness creates attraction because it reduces internal uncertainty. So the issue is not kindness, the issue is whether kindness is coming from strength or from approval seeking. Transition. And when this dynamic continues long enough, something deeper begins to happen emotionally. At the core of all of this is a misunderstanding about love and attraction. Many men believe that if they are good enough, consistent enough, and giving enough, they will eventually be chosen deeply. But human attraction doesn't work like a transaction. It works like an emotional ecosystem. People don't just respond to what you do, they respond to how they feel around your presence. If your presence feels too predictable, too available, too emotionally flat, something inside the dynamic loses polarity. Not because you are less valuable, but because attraction needs contrast to stay alive. And here's the deeper truth most people never say out loud. Being nice is often an attempt to control outcome through approval, but real attraction comes when you are no longer trying to manage perception. You are simply grounded in who you are. That's when your kindness becomes powerful, not because it is constant, but because it is chosen, and chosen behavior always carries weight. Call to action plus outro, Myron 1330 the 15 ao. If this resonated with you, it probably means you've experienced at least part of this dynamic without fully understanding it at the time. And the important thing to remember is this: attraction is not something you chase. It's something that naturally responds to emotional presence and self-direction. What's one moment where you felt like being too nice actually worked against you in dating or relationships? Share it in the comments. I read them. And in the next video, we're going to break down something even deeper. Why women often test emotional consistency without ever saying it directly, and what it actually reveals about attraction patterns. Because once you understand the psychology beneath behavior, you stop reacting blindly and start seeing the real structure underneath relationships. And when you see it clearly, you don't chase connection anymore. You create it.